Welcome to our video. Imagine a United States once proud of its tourism industry. With bustling airports, luxurious hotels always full, and lively streets filled with tourists from around the world. But now, the situation is completely different. Cities like New York, Florida, and Las Vegas, once legendary tourist destinations, are now deserted, with empty airports and closed hotels. The story of America's tourism is no longer one of glamour and hustle, but rather a nightmare beyond imagination. The number of visitors has drastically dropped, turning these iconic tourist spots into ghost towns, where there are no more bright lights or the cheerful chatter of tourists. What was once a promising industry now faces the risk of collapse. Can America's tourism industry recover? Let's explore the hidden stories behind this decline and uncover the deep reasons behind the fall of an industry that was once the pride of the nation. If you agree with the changes happening in the U.S. tourism industry, leave a 1 in the comments. If you think the situation will improve soon, leave a 0 instead. Enjoy the video and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support us. Now let's dive into this story. New York, once a symbol of vibrancy and endless opportunities, is now facing signs of decline in its tourism industry. The city that never sleeps, which has been a dream destination for millions of international tourists every year, is now witnessing a sharp drop in visitors. According to the latest data, New York has lost up to 17% of its international visitors in 2025, a concerning figure for both the U.S. tourism sector and the city itself. The emptiness is becoming more evident at famous airports like JFK and Newark, which were once bustling with activity. Large corridors, check-in counters, and gates are now often silent, missing the groups of curious tourists and the sounds of excitement and laughter that once filled the air. This situation is not just a warning sign. It also reflects a deep change in the preferences and habits of international travelers. This is even more evident when looking at the city's iconic tourist spots. Broadway, once known for packed audiences at nightly performances, is now closing earlier or even reducing the number of shows. Times Square, a symbol of hustle and bustle, is no longer the gathering place for massive tourist groups. Shops, restaurants, and other major attractions across the city are no longer as lively as before. One part of the reason for this decline is the stricter visa policies and tighter border controls imposed by the U.S. government. Increasing security measures have made the visa application and entry process more complicated and lengthy. This has created a significant barrier for many international tourists, especially from developing countries, where the visa process often takes a lot of time and effort. The stringent approval requirements have caused many to abandon plans to visit the U.S., opting for other destinations with fewer hurdles. The impact of this situation is not only affecting tourism, but also spreading to other sectors. Hotel workers, taxi drivers, street performers, and service industry employees who depend on tourism are facing severe economic difficulties. Jobs that once provided stable income are now struggling to survive. Shops, restaurants, and other businesses are also seeing a decrease in revenue as the reduced number of tourists has left them with insufficient customers to maintain operations. The lesson here is that no industry or economy can sustain long-term growth if it depends solely on one source of income. The tourism industry, while one of the strongest, is also vulnerable to sudden changes in policy, weather, or even global factors. Therefore, it is essential to diversify industries, improve infrastructure, and maintain a favorable environment for international visitors in order to avoid being overly reliant on a single source of revenue. Government officials and tourism industry leaders must be fully aware of the changes in modern travelers' behaviors and needs. They must make reasonable adjustments to policies to not only sustain growth, but also help the tourism industry overcome unforeseen crises. In particular, it is crucial to focus on maintaining the appeal of domestic destinations without losing their attraction to international visitors. This shift is also a reminder for individuals and businesses in the service industry to be more flexible and creative in their approach to customers. Even with a decline in international visitors, they must still find ways to create value for both tourists and local residents. New York remains a city with its unique charm, But the current crisis in its tourism industry is a painful lesson in the need for innovation and sustainable development in all sectors. The city must reinvent itself, expand opportunities for international visitors, and restore confidence in its ability to attract tourism in the future. Florida, renowned as one of the world's entertainment paradises, is now facing an unimaginable crisis. Major theme parks such as Disney World and Universal Studios, once essential destinations for millions of international tourists, are now witnessing a significant decline in visitor numbers. This decline not only impacts the theme parks, but also has a far-reaching effect on the state's economy, with tourism accounting for over 6% of Florida's GDP. One of the main reasons for this drop is the trade tensions between the US and other countries, especially Canada. Canadian tourists, once a major source of income for Florida's entertainment destinations, have sharply decreased due to the impacts of tariffs and tough trade policies. Travel difficulties and rising costs have made it increasingly difficult for many Canadian families to maintain their annual trips to Florida, affecting the revenues of major theme parks. To cope with the drop in visitors, hotels and restaurants in Florida have been forced to lower prices and adjust their operational capacity. Some hotels have slashed room rates to record lows, while restaurants are trying to attract customers with appealing discount offers and promotions. However, these are temporary solutions and cannot make up for the loss of clientele. This situation is not only damaging businesses, but also impacting the livelihoods of thousands of people who depend on the tourism industry, from theme park staff to taxi drivers and hotel employees. The decrease in visitors is also putting significant pressure on Florida's economy. Tourism is one of the state's most vital sectors, contributing a substantial portion to its GDP and creating millions of jobs. When tourism struggles, other sectors such as manufacturing, retail, and public services also feel the impact. Specifically, the decline in tourism income could lead to budget cuts in public services, directly affecting the quality of life for residents. The current situation in Florida's tourism industry serves as a clear reminder of the importance of diversification in the economy. Over-reliance on a single sector, such as tourism, can make the economy fragile and vulnerable to unforeseen fluctuations. Florida must accelerate the development of other economic sectors to reduce its dependence on tourism, while also improving infrastructure and policies to attract international tourists, particularly from neighboring countries like Canada. Florida's government and tourism leaders need to fully recognize the changes in modern travelers' behaviors. They must take creative measures to attract international tourists, while mitigating the impact of external factors such as tariffs and trade policies. This is also an opportunity for local businesses to seek innovation and creativity in customer service, enhancing experiences and rebuilding confidence in Florida's appeal as an ideal destination. Finally, the decline in Florida's tourism industry highlights the importance of flexibility and resilience in all economic sectors. Tourism can be an essential source of revenue, but if not developed sustainably and adaptively, it can easily be impacted by uncontrollable factors. Long-term policies and strategies must consider diversification and avoid allowing a single industry to dominate the economy. Las Vegas, the city known for its bright neon lights, lavish casinos, and world-class entertainment events, is now facing a severe crisis that few could have imagined. In 2025, visitor numbers to the city dropped by more than 13%, a staggering figure that threatens the city's economy, which heavily relies on tourism and entertainment. This decline is not only affecting casinos and hotels, but also spreading to other service businesses, from restaurants to street performers. One of the key reasons tourists are turning away from Las Vegas is the cancellation of many major conventions. Once a favorite destination for international events, the city can no longer attract large organizations or corporations to host their events. This has forced hotels, which once accommodated thousands of business travelers and conference participants, to close several floors and reduce operating capacity. Conference-related services, such as ticket booths, catering, or entertainment programs for attendees, are no longer as vibrant as before. Additionally, the strengthening of the US dollar is making Las Vegas a less attractive option for international visitors, with tourists now choosing cheaper destinations like Macau, Dubai, and Singapore. A strong dollar has made traveling to Las Vegas more expensive for visitors from other countries. When the cost of a trip to Las Vegas no longer seems reasonable compared to competing destinations, many international tourists have shifted their focus to cities that offer lower costs, but still promise luxury and excitement. These challenges have heavily impacted hotel workers and street performers, who rely on a steady flow of tourists to earn a living. Hotels, forced to reduce their capacity, are not only cutting staff, but also reducing the working hours of their current employees. Street performers, an integral part of the lively Las Vegas scene, are also facing a decline in audiences, as fewer tourists participate in outdoor activities as they once did. The current difficulties in Las Vegas serve as a wake-up call about the risks of relying on a single source of income and the vulnerability of the tourism industry to global economic and political factors. While the city has built its image as an entertainment and gambling paradise, it cannot control external factors like exchange rate fluctuations and global tourism trends. An important lesson here is the need for flexibility and creativity in tourism development strategies. Major tourist cities like Las Vegas must find ways to not only maintain but also diversify their revenue streams, such as investing in the creative industries, technology, and other sectors that can supplement the city's economy. Moreover, tourism policies need to be adjusted to attract international visitors while mitigating the negative impacts of currency fluctuations. This could involve offering more reasonable promotional packages, creating partnerships with other cities, or expanding connections with new tourism markets. Ultimately, Las Vegas needs to reinvent itself as a diverse destination, not just relying on gambling, but also developing activities like conferences, adventure tourism, and unique entertainment experiences. By diversifying its tourism offerings, the city can remain resilient and grow sustainably, avoiding the negative impacts of unforeseen crises. Hawaii, the tropical paradise known for its white sandy beaches, clear waters, and temperate climate, is now facing a harsh reality. The tourism industry, once a cornerstone of the local economy, is experiencing a severe decline. The number of visitors from Japan and South Korea, two of Hawaii's largest tourism markets, has sharply decreased in 2025. This has not only forced resorts and restaurants on the islands to reduce their operational capacity, but also heavily impacted Hawaii's economy, as tourism accounts for nearly 1/5 of the state's GDP. One of the main reasons for this decline is the rising cost of airfare and living expenses. Travel to Hawaii has become more expensive than ever, especially for international tourists. Long flights from Japan and South Korea, once popular options for many travelers, are now priced at exorbitant rates. This has made visiting Hawaii increasingly difficult and expensive for those who love vacationing here, especially when other destinations offer lower costs. Furthermore, the cost of living in Hawaii, including hotel prices, dining, and other services, has also risen over the years, prompting tourists to think more carefully about their spending during their holidays. With high prices and a lack of affordable options, many travelers have opted for other destinations, where they can enjoy a great vacation at a more reasonable cost. The drop in visitors has forced resorts and restaurants to face reduced operational capacity. Some large hotels have had to close certain floors, cut staff, and reduce services to mitigate financial losses. Restaurants have also had to adjust their menus and offer discounts to attract customers. But the fierce competition and the struggling tourism situation have made it difficult for them to maintain the revenue they once enjoyed. The current state of Hawaii's tourism industry serves as a profound lesson about the dangers of relying on a single industry and the vulnerability of an economy when exposed to external fluctuations. While tourism is an essential part of Hawaii's economy, without diversification, it can easily be affected by global factors such as airfare prices, cost of living, and changing travel behaviors. Now is the time for Hawaii to seek creative solutions to revive its tourism industry. Developing unique and distinct tourism products, not just focusing on resort services, but also incorporating experiences like ecotourism, cultural tourism, or adventure travel, could help attract new visitors and retain long-term tourists. Additionally, Hawaii must strive to reduce costs for tourists, such as lowering taxes and offering attractive promotional packages to encourage more travel to the islands. An important factor is improving transportation policies and international connectivity. Collaborating with airlines to reduce airfare, especially from major markets like Japan and South Korea, will be key to bringing tourists back. Additionally, developing airfare promotions and all-inclusive travel packages will help customers feel that a trip to Hawaii is a worthwhile investment. Moreover, the government and local communities need to be fully aware of the importance of sustainable tourism development. Balancing the attraction of tourists with the preservation of Hawaii's natural resources will be crucial in ensuring that this paradise remains a popular destination for generations of travelers to come. Washington, D.C., the political heart of the United States and the center of critical national decisions, is now confronting a concerning reality: a significant decline in tourism. Renowned museums like the Smithsonian, once major attractions for visitors, are now eerily quiet, with fewer international tourists. This is a clear sign of Washington, D.C.'s weakening appeal as a tourist destination, affecting not only the local economy, but also diminishing the city's allure in the global spotlight. One of the main reasons for the sharp drop in international visitors is the increasingly unfriendly image of the U.S. in recent years. The tense political climate, protests, and social unrest have painted a negative picture of the country for many tourists. The image of a divided nation, dealing with complex internal issues, is causing many international travelers to reconsider visiting Washington, D.C. A city once known for its formality and prestige is now seen as a symbol of instability and conflict. Furthermore, complicated entry procedures have become another barrier for international visitors to the U.S., especially following increasingly strict border control policies. The difficult and lengthy visa process, combined with stringent airport security procedures, has caused many tourists to opt for destinations with fewer bureaucratic hurdles. This has further diminished Washington, D.C.'s appeal for international visitors, who are looking for a more hassle-free vacation experience. The decline in visitors has not only impacted famous attractions like the Smithsonian museums, but has also spread to other services within the city. Restaurants, hotels, and tourism-related businesses have seen a significant drop in revenue, leading to staff reductions and service cutbacks. Industries that rely on international tourism are struggling to maintain operations, which affects the livelihoods of local residents. The current state of tourism in Washington, D.C. serves as a cautionary tale about the impact of political instability and a negative national image on economic development, particularly in tourism. When a country faces political division and an unwelcoming image, its ability to attract visitors declines. This is an important lesson for countries and cities about the importance of political stability and a positive national image in supporting tourism. To restore its tourism appeal, Washington, D.C. must revamp its immigration policies and create a more welcoming environment for international visitors. Simplifying visa programs, alongside strategic efforts to improve the national image, could help boost tourist numbers to the capital. Additionally, continuing to host international events, large conferences, and attractive travel programs would be effective ways to draw visitors back. Finally, Washington, D.C. needs to build a sustainable tourism strategy that goes beyond museums and cultural sites. Expanding into other types of tourism, such as conference tourism, ecotourism, and outdoor activities, will help the capital recover and thrive, attracting visitors from around the world. Diversifying tourism products will be key to ensuring Washington, D.C.'s future success as a top global destination. If you agree with the views in this story, leave a 1 in the comments. If you have a different opinion, leave a 0 instead. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a subscription to support us. Now let's continue following the next developments together. New Orleans, a city famous for its vibrant jazz rhythms, colorful festivals, and unique culture, is now facing a serious crisis. The number of visitors from South America and Europe, two important markets for the city's tourism industry, has significantly decreased in recent years. Iconic festivals like Mardi Gras, once the highlight of New Orleans, now lack the crowds, which has diminished the lively and dynamic atmosphere the city once had. One of the main reasons for the decline in visitors is the high cost, especially for international tourists. While New Orleans is renowned for its rich culture and unique experiences, the price to enjoy these attractions has become quite expensive. This has caused many tourists, particularly from South American and European countries, to choose other destinations such as Cuba or Mexico, where the costs are lower but still offer similar cultural and entertainment experiences. Street performers, who have been essential in bringing life to the city, are also facing a lack of visitors. Jazz music, a crucial part of New Orleans' identity, no longer attracts the crowds it once did. Musicians are struggling to find an audience, as tourists no longer flock to Bourbon Street or other popular areas to enjoy street music. Additionally, restaurants, especially those serving the city's iconic Cajun cuisine, are no longer as busy as before. These specialty dishes, once a hallmark of New Orleans, are now only served to a limited number of customers, which significantly impacts the revenue of local businesses. The current state of New Orleans is a wake-up call about the vulnerability of the tourism industry, especially when the city relies too heavily on certain sources of visitors and traditional festivals. When external factors like travel costs and changes in international tourism trends shift, the city can face significant challenges in maintaining the sustainable growth of its tourism sector. The key lesson here is the need to diversify tourism products and expand the target audience. New Orleans should not only rely on festivals and music, but also develop other types of tourism such as ecotourism, historical tourism, or wellness tourism. Developing sustainable tourism products, while preserving and promoting the city's unique culture, will help New Orleans attract visitors from around the world again. The city must also focus on creating high-quality and affordable travel experiences, while reducing additional costs for tourists to remain competitive with other destinations. Building promotional programs, offering discounts for international visitors, and organizing events that draw tourists will be key to restoring the tourism industry and making New Orleans an attractive destination once again. Finally, New Orleans needs to recognize the importance of sustainable tourism development and innovation in its promotional strategies to maintain its reputation as a city rich in culture and music, while aligning with the needs of modern tourists. Colorado, renowned for its majestic mountains and world-class ski resorts like Aspen and Vail, is now witnessing a significant decline in tourism, especially among international visitors. These resorts, which once attracted millions of tourists every winter season, are now nearly empty, particularly from major markets like Europe and Japan. While the stunning natural landscapes remain intact, the decrease in visitors has placed Colorado's mountain tourism industry in serious jeopardy. One of the key factors driving this decline is the sharp increase in costs for ski lift tickets, hotels, and international flights. The prices for lift tickets and services at famous ski resorts have skyrocketed in recent years, causing many tourists, particularly from Asia and Europe, to turn to alternative destinations with lower costs. Ski resorts in Japan and Europe, offering attractive options at more reasonable prices, have become the preferred choice for many travelers, causing Colorado to lose its allure. The decline in international visitors not only affects ski resorts, but also has a widespread impact on the entire mountain economy of Colorado. Industries that depend on tourism, such as restaurants, retail shops, and sports equipment rentals, have also suffered significant losses. Small businesses, from souvenir shops to ski rental companies, are struggling to stay afloat due to the lack of tourists. Employees working at resorts, from lift operators to ski instructors, are also facing job shortages and reduced income. While Colorado remains a popular destination for domestic travelers, the drop in international visitors has reduced the diversity and stability of the local economy. The current state of tourism in Colorado serves as a warning about the risks of depending on a specific group of international tourists and a single type of tourism. When costs rise and competition from other destinations increases, destinations focused on one type of tourism, like skiing, are at risk of falling behind. The key lesson here is the need for diversification of tourism products and the development of sustainable strategies. Colorado should not only focus on skiing, but also develop other types of tourism such as ecotourism, adventure tourism, cultural tourism, or even summer leisure tourism. Expanding activities outside of the ski season will help keep tourists coming back at other times of the year, reducing reliance on the winter season and international visitors. To attract international visitors back, Colorado needs to adjust its pricing and improve services to stay competitive with other destinations. Promotional programs, discounts on services like ski lifts and hotels, and reasonable tourism campaigns will be key to restoring visitor numbers to the state. Ultimately, restructuring the tourism industry and developing creative tourism products will help Colorado build a solid, sustainable foundation for the future. The state can thrive not only on its snowy mountains, but also by cultivating a diverse tourism ecosystem that attracts travelers from around the world. Boston, a city rich in historical foundations and cultural heritage, is now facing a tourism crisis. Historic tours, once the hallmark of the city, have sharply declined. Renowned museums like the Boston Museum of Art and History are no longer as crowded as they used to be, and the iconic historical landmarks that attracted millions of visitors every year are now eerily quiet. Despite Boston's continued historical and cultural value, the decrease in visitors is diminishing the city's allure. One of the main reasons for this decline is the high cost of travel and the increasingly difficult visa application process. Obtaining a visa to the U.S. has become more complicated and time-consuming for many international tourists, especially from developing countries. The difficulties in completing the immigration process, along with the high costs of travel, have caused tourists, particularly from countries in Europe and South America, to choose more convenient and affordable destinations like Europe or cities in Asia. This has significantly reduced the number of visitors to Boston, especially during peak seasons. The decrease in visitors not only impacts historical tours, but also creates difficulties for restaurants and souvenir shops around famous landmarks like Harvard Square. Souvenir shops, once bustling with tourists, are now struggling with a lack of customers. Restaurants, which were once ideal dining spots for tourists, have had to reduce prices or change their business strategies to stay afloat. These shops can no longer attract the steady flow of visitors they once did, leading many businesses to find new ways to survive. The decline in tourism in Boston is a lesson about the dangers of relying on a specific tourism niche and the vulnerability of such an economy when it faces challenges. While Boston's historical and cultural heritage remains invaluable, the drop in international visitors is weakening the vitality of the city's tourism industry. An important lesson here is the need to diversify tourism products and build a sustainable tourism strategy. Boston should develop other types of tourism, not just focusing on history, but also promoting activities such as ecotourism, culinary tourism, conference tourism, and leisure tourism. Developing destinations beyond historical landmarks will help attract visitors year-round, reducing reliance on a single type of tourism. Furthermore, Boston needs to work with the government to make it easier for international visitors to obtain visas and reduce entry barriers. Promotional programs and discounts for international tourists, along with improvements to hotel and restaurant services, will be key to bringing tourists back. Finally, Boston must promote its historical heritage in new, more exciting ways, using modern technology and creative marketing strategies to position the city as a comprehensive travel destination. Not just as a historical tour hub, but as a dynamic city that blends culture, entertainment, and unique culinary experiences. California, one of the wealthiest and most developed states in the U.S., is now facing a significant decline in international tourism, particularly from China, one of the state's largest tourism markets. Iconic destinations like Hollywood and Silicon Valley, symbols of global entertainment and technology, are now witnessing a noticeable absence of international visitors. This decline not only affects tourism revenue, but also diminishes California's standing as a major tourist destination on the world map. One of the key factors contributing to this situation is the increasing issues of crime and security concerns in several areas of the state, particularly in major cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. While California is still known for its beautiful beaches and famous entertainment venues, the rise in crime and instability has made many tourists, especially international visitors, feel concerned about visiting. The image of a prosperous, free, and safe California is being severely impacted by growing crime rates, which particularly affects international tourists who are unfamiliar with these areas. Additionally, the issue of homelessness is becoming another factor that impacts California's appeal to international visitors. The rising number of homeless individuals in major cities has tarnished the state's image. Tourists, especially from countries like China, have expressed concern about this issue, believing that it not only decreases the quality of life, but also impacts safety while traveling. Moreover, The cost of living and traveling in California has skyrocketed in recent years, leading many international visitors to reconsider their decision to visit. Airfare, hotel rates, dining, and other services are all priced high, making California a less attractive option for many tourists. Instead, they are choosing destinations with more affordable costs, yet still offering quality travel experiences. The decline in international visitors to California is a significant lesson about the importance of maintaining a safe and appealing image for a travel destination. Issues surrounding security, crime, and homelessness not only reduce a state's appeal, but also severely impact the tourism economy and industries that depend on international visitors. California needs to focus on improving security issues and reducing crime, particularly in popular tourist areas. Stricter security measures, coordinated with local authorities and communities, will help rebuild tourists' confidence in the safety of visiting the state. Additionally, California must reassess pricing policies to make the state a more financially accessible travel destination. Lowering tourism-related service costs, coupled with attractive promotional programs, will help bring international tourists back, especially from key markets like China. Finally, developing initiatives to support the homeless population and improving the image of cities across the state will be crucial steps in maintaining California's reputation as a safe, friendly, and appealing destination for tourists worldwide. Addressing these social issues will not only help the state grow sustainably, but also create an ideal tourism environment for all visitors. Michigan, a state known for its attractive tourist destinations and diverse entertainment industry, is now facing a significant decline in Canadian visitors, an important group for the state's local economy. Previously, Canadian tourists made up a large portion of the visitors to Michigan, particularly at outlet malls and border casinos. However, in recent years, this trend has drastically changed, deeply affecting the state's economy. One of the primary causes of this decline is the policy barriers and tariffs, making travel between Canada and the US more difficult and costly. Tighter border controls, especially in the context of global political and security issues, have made it more challenging for Canadian tourists to obtain visas and complete entry procedures. This has posed a major obstacle for travelers from north of the border, who once frequently visited Michigan for shopping, entertainment, or simply to enjoy a vacation. Outlet stores where Canadian tourists typically went shopping are now facing a lack of customers. Major brands in Michigan, which once attracted many Canadian shoppers due to discounted prices, are now struggling with declining sales. This customer drop-off has also severely impacted border casinos, where many Canadian tourists would visit to try their luck. These casinos are now struggling to draw customers, as visitors are no longer coming as they once did. The decline in Canadian tourists to Michigan serves as a wake-up call about the risks of depending on a single group of international tourists. When an important group is impacted by factors like immigration policies and tariffs, the tourism economy of an entire state can be severely affected. This is an important lesson about the need to diversify tourism sources and develop long-term strategies to avoid dependency on a specific group of tourists. Michigan needs to work with the federal government to find solutions that reduce travel barriers for Canadian visitors. Simplifying entry procedures and reducing tariffs for international tourists will help boost the number of visitors from neighboring countries, particularly Canada. Additionally, special promotional strategies and incentive programs for international tourists could help attract visitors back to Michigan. Furthermore, Michigan needs to continue developing unique tourism products, not just focusing on shopping and entertainment, but also expanding into other types of tourism like ecotourism, adventure tourism, and large-scale events to attract a diverse range of tourists. This will help create a rich and sustainable tourism ecosystem that isn't solely dependent on one group of visitors. Tourism in the United States has been facing significant challenges in recent years, and the decline in international visitors raises an important question. Is this a temporary setback or the beginning of a new era? This is the major question the U.S. tourism industry must address. While some experts believe that this is just a temporary disruption due to external factors, such as the pandemic or economic crises, long-term issues like strict visa policies, high travel costs, and security concerns are deeply influencing the decisions of international travelers. Strict visa policies and complicated entry procedures are making it difficult for tourists, especially from countries like China, India, and parts of Europe, to visit the US. Additionally, high travel costs, from airfare to services at popular tourist destinations like New York, Las Vegas, and California, are also significant barriers. The country's image, sometimes affected by political instability, crime, and homelessness in some major cities, is also diminishing the US's appeal to international visitors. The big question remains: can the US recover and regain its position as a leading tourist destination? Or will it continue to face decline? This depends not only on external factors like pandemics or economic conditions, but also on how the US adjusts its tourism policies, improves its national image, and reduces barriers for international visitors. Rebuilding US tourism will require a comprehensive strategy, from changing visa regulations and reducing travel costs to creating a safer and more welcoming environment for tourists. We invite you to share your thoughts and feelings about the current state of US tourism. Do you believe this decline is temporary, or is it a sign of a major shift in the tourism industry? Can the US recover, or will it continue to face decline? Please leave your comments below the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never miss our next videos. Let's explore more about the changes in the tourism industry and the steps needed to help the US reclaim its position as the world's top travel destination.